Everybody, sunny, beautiful day, 72 degrees by 9:30 in the morning. We're getting closer to summer, and that is lovely, lovely, just lovely. I'm heading into the studio today to get a jump on some editing for a show that's coming out this week, which I think you'll like. If you're a patron, you already know because you watched it being recorded last night. But if you're not a patron, I'll let you know what we do over on Patreon. It's not often, it's whenever I get the chance, and I don't always. But there are a lot of veterans in the audience. And we did a show years ago about PTSD. And actually, I think it was before we did the PTSD episode, but oh, that's what it was. It was Eric the producer. Eric the producer was a combat vet, and we would often talk about combat, and he would tell me about it, and he wouldn't sugarcoat anything, which is what I wanted him to do. And it got me thinking, you know, we kind of look at Gettysburg like people look at things like Star Trek or Back to the Future or something fictional, in the sense that I don't think we really grasp what just pure ugliness war is. I think people obviously who've seen it do, but us, we civilians, we're too influenced by movies, and movies for various reasons can't or won't or don't depict it like it is on the whole. And I started doing these shows called Combat Stories, where I talk to a modern day veteran who's not shy about talking about what he or she went through and saw, so that maybe those of us who might romanticize war or might still be stuck in movie mode could perhaps disillusion ourselves of those notions. And so I don't know. We might have done like 3 or 4 of them. It's a lot of the veterans I am in contact with don't live around here, so it's not easy for them to come in to do the interview. Colby was one of them. And we had a few others. So I had an opportunity to get our first celebrity combat stories show in, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. Thank you, Phil, for the super chat. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but a few months ago, Eric Dorr from the Gettysburg Museum of History, also known as my hero, he came to me. He's like, "Hey, would you like to interview Captain Dale Dye?" And I was like, "Would I like to interview Captain Dale Dye? Bitch, please, you better believe it." Once I became aware of who he was and what he did, I had a great admiration for this guy, because it was Saving Private Ryan that completely changed my view and interest in war. I loved war movies growing up, and when it's John Wayne and there's very little blood and it's all heroism, and even the violence and the death is not really sad or believable or whatever. And so we go in, my friends and I, we're 19 years old. We go in to watch Saving Private Ryan, and we're all gung-ho about it. I think there's about 4 or 5 of us. 2 of them are like jocks, football players and everything, tough guys. And one of them later became my brother-in-law. But we were still, it was an odd group of friends, and we went to see Saving Private Ryan, and we were all excited. And I remember afterwards, we got in the car and drove down the road to go to a diner. It's New Jersey, after all, to get some coffee. And neither one of us could speak for at least a half an hour. For me, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, I was afraid to speak because I was on the from that whole movie. and or and I never looked at a war movie again the same way. All of the movies made before that are comical, except for Platoon and a handful of others. But for the most part, they're all comical. But it was Captain Dale Die when I got the DVD. Actually, at that point, it was VHS. When I got the VHS of Private Ryan, there was, I believe, a featurette. I guess it might have been the DVD. Oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever it was. At some point, I saw a behind-the-scenes featurette about the making of Private Ryan, and it was very heavily about this guy named Captain Dale Die and his actors boot camp. And I was like, that is brilliant. That is so brilliant. And that is why that movie was so good. Because I believe that these guys, even though it was Tom Hanks, everybody knows Tom Hanks, and Matt Damon, like, I believe that these guys were soldiers. They moved like them, they talked like them, they handled the weapons like them. I believed it. And it was because of that guy. Well, it was because Steven Spielberg employed that guy, Captain Die, to make his movie more real. Anyway, Band of Brothers comes out, The Pacific, even Starship Troopers. This guy was in like so many movies where the combat scenes are just fantastic. So when Eric asked me if I wanted to interview him, I was like, absolutely. I have always admired this guy, and I feel I have to thank him for helping, take the rose-colored glasses off my face, knock them off my face in movies. And so last night he came by, and we sat down to do the interview, and I said to Eric when they came, I said, all right, Eric. So originally Eric wanted to be in the interview and introduce him. And I know how to do an interview. I know how to introduce people. I don't like when a third party is in there. But, Eric is very good to me. So I let Eric do what Eric wants to do. Except this time, I had an idea while I was researching Captain Die. I was watching a lot of interviews on YouTube that he had done, and all of them are the same. The people ask the same questions. It's about Private Ryan and Band of Brothers, maybe a little Platoon, and the answers are all the same. And I don't like to do that if I can avoid it. And the one thing I noticed was I couldn't find any interview about him talking in depth about his tours in Vietnam or in Beirut. Not that they're not in existence, I just couldn't find them if they are. And so when they got there, I said, okay, listen, here's what I'd like to do. Eric, I want to record, I have an idea for your intro. I want to record it one day this week, and I'm going to pop it in before the interview. And I said, Captain Die, you and I have one thing in common, and that is that we don't like how Hollywood depicts war, and we want to de-romanticize it. And I do these shows called Combat Stories, and it's talking about talking to combat veterans about what they experienced, blah, 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 blah. Can we talk about your experience in Vietnam? And there was a very short, like 1 second pause, and kind of his eyes shifted down towards the floor, and he said, sure. So we did an interview. So then we go in, and Eric had to leave the room to go do something. And I told Cindy was my engineer. I told Cindy, I said, listen, when they get here, hit the record button, because I don't know what, I just want to record all this, even if it's just from posterity for me, So it was recording. We sat down. I told him where to sit, and so he's framed in the camera right, and the microphone, all that stuff. And we just started talking in my normal pre-interview type of warm-up, that I normally don't always record. Sometimes I do. And I realized this is it. Like, this is the interview here. So I sent a text to Cindy, not to interrupt him. I said, go do this as a live stream, hit go live on Patreon now, so the patrons can watch this. And so the Patreon video, you'll notice it starts in progress, but we have a lot more recorded before and after. And we just started talking. There's no introduction. There's no me, there's no Sam Elliott introducing the show. There's no me talking about who this guy is. We just start talking. And it was probably the greatest experience I've had doing this show so far. I got to say, this weekend is kind of a bummer for me. You're seeing all your friends and all these other people, a part of something, and you're not included in it. And this made up for all of that. And it was, I can't actually describe what it meant to me or why it meant so much to me to talk to him, but it did, and it was great. It was just, I think it was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to him. I don't know if it actually came out good. He did a great job. I don't know if I asked the right questions or not. But at the end, well, you'll see, because it'll come out this week, and I'm definitely leaving the end when we're done and we're leaving. There's a little bit of small talk, and he and Eric both paid me a high compliment that you best be believe. That might be the cold open of the show when I do it. So anyway, I'm going to start working on that so I can get that out pretty early this week. I'm shooting for like Wednesday night, maybe. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, 6 questions. He said, good morning, Dale Dye. Interview was spectacular. There we go. Spectacular. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Tom Canavan says, morning. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. Yes, Cindy included, of course. Happy Mother's Day to ye all as well. Happy Mother's Day, Mommy, if you're watching. I'll call you in a bit. Took Cindy out for Mother's Day on Thursday with her daughters. We surprised her because she has to work today. So that was nice. She was very surprised, very pleased. That was great. Phil, thank you very much for that super chat. I don't know if I thanked you already, but thanks again anyway. Michael, good morning. Phil says, tell Cindy Happy Mother's Day. I will tell everybody. Thank you. David Armstrong, good morning, David. Gene says, good morning, Gene. Peter says, very few movies live up to Private Ryan. Generation Kill is still extremely real for Modern Warfare. Yeah, well, it raised the bar for all war films. If you're not doing your war film like Private Ryan, then it's just not going to fly. Like, it's the standard now, which is great, because one of the best war movies, even though it doesn't really stick to the book, but I think again, to show the pure ugliness of war, was the recent remake of All Quiet on the Western Front. That horrified me. Absolutely horrified me. And that scene in the crater with the soldier killing the French, well, stabbing, I think he stabs him, right? Or shoots him, I can't remember. But they're stuck in this crater, and the guy doesn't die right away, and he's dying, and he's in agony, and the kid can't stand it, and so he goes and shoves dirt in his mouth to muffle him. I mean, it's just so heartbreaking and horrendous. Just really, I thought, really well done. And that's what I want out of a war movie. I want to be able to never watch it again. And that's what I said to Captain Dye yesterday. I said, I can only watch Private Ryan maybe once every other year. Because part of it is, my grandfather, he wasn't at D-Day, but he fought in Europe. And to think that he went through, the depiction of the Normandy landing, it doesn't mean other battles weren't like that. A bullet whizzing past your head in Normandy Beach or at St. Lo, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter. But to think that he went through all that and was able to come back to civilian life and produce the way he did. He had a family, 4 kids. He provided for them. Stay-at-home mom situation, the way it used to be. And he, I always admired him. He was my John Wayne for that. Both my grandfathers were, because they were both, cut from a different cloth that we do not cut our men from these days. And, yeah, So I don't know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, I noticed those contrails. Yeah, I noticed those. Um, Tom Canavan says, "Love the Matt Damon Team America inflection." I have to every time I say his name, Matt Damon. Michael says Platoon wasn't Martin Sheen in it. Nope, that was Charlie Sheen. Tom Berenger was in it. Tom Berenger also in Gettysburg. So that might be your confusion there. Morning glory and hallelujah, Matt. Glory and hallelujah to you as well, John Stewart. Here's beautiful Pickett's Charge. Phil says, check out 12 O'Clock High when you get a chance. Awesome movie based on the 8th Air Force. This is not a comedy or to sell war bonds. It was classic, or it was made in 1949, so it's a post-war classic. All right, I'll check it out. 12 O'Clock High. Jeff says, good morning, Matt. Really enjoyed Dale Dye's show. It was so interesting. What an amazing man. So many great stories and lessons to share. You know, when you sit and talk to a guy like that, you feel like a tremendous loser, because here you are, essentially half his age, and by the time he was your age, he accomplished so many things, and then was in the process of going on and creating a whole new second career, second life, accomplishing even more things. And as I said to him when we sat down, I said, you know, unfortunately, most people get their history from movies. And so what you've done with movies is very important, because we have to understand what everybody went through. And when it's, you know, Errol Flynn and they died with their boots on, and he just, you know, clasps his chest and kind of winces and then falls in a dramatic way. You know, it's so silly. He's seen people get hit with bullets, and he started introducing the idea that no, when you get hit with a bullet, you just drop, as if you were a puppet and someone cut your strings. And if you've seen, I watch, I don't know why I watch this to escape sometimes, but I'll watch like body cam videos from, you know, police. And sometimes when they have to shoot somebody, they may be running away, but they get that one hit, and the body just stops and drops. And so that, you know, we have him to thank for that in movies. And it just so much. And I think it's, you know, he of course was being humble and gave credit to the directors, and naturally the directors deserve the credit, because they're the ones who say, I want this guy to do his thing. But his thing is something that no one was looking for. That's the thing. And this is what I love about it, because I love the idea of someone offering something that no one is looking for. I've always tried to be that. I'd never really succeeded with it, but he did. And he's like, this is a problem that I recognize and I can fix it. The trouble was the real work, the hard work, was getting into Hollywood. But once he did, you know, that was that. So I'm riding high after that, and I have Eric Dorr to thank. Tora, that's a good one too. I was glad to see you got to sit down with John C. in your studio. Peter says, very happy you got to interview the captain. Michael, thank you, sir, for the super chat. And Yeah, she did a super chat. Thank you. Babber Schultz, hello, Babber. BKW, good morning to you. John Stewart says 1917 was pretty good. Yeah, I like 1917. I think they're turning. Let's see what they're going to do. Yes, they're turning. All right. Okay. They're turning. Here we go. We're going to be behind the carriage today. Hope we don't get pooped on. I've got a set of M42 jumpsuits using Saving Private Ryan. Oh, that's cool. Jeff says, agreed, All Quiet on the Western Front remake left me speechless. Brandy asked, hold on, let me see what they're doing, if they're getting out of my way or not, because I don't want to rush them. Waiting for a signal to pass. Might not be getting it. All right, I'm going to guess I can. I don't want to... No. Well, we'll do it slowly. All right, we made it. Brandy asked how it was, and I had no words to describe what I just experienced. Yep. Grandfather was in Pacific Theater. Michael or Peter says, having served in Iraq, I feel all footage or movies really need to show the true horrors, including the aftermath with dealing with it. Maybe we will be less eager to jump the gun. You know, I think that is a futile hope that many of us have, is that by showing the horrors, we will dissuade people. There's other aspects of life that are pretty horrific that people show the horrors of, and it doesn't dissuade others. I won't mention them because they're politically charged, but you got to try, and but I don't know if it'll ever work, because here's the thing, governments don't have souls, people have souls. But governments don't have souls. Governments protect their interests, and they use real people as cannon fodder for the protection of those interests. And they lie to them too. They tell them that it's something else. So I don't think the worst of all war movies. I think that the perverts who are in charge of us, I think they actually enjoy them, the gorier they are. So I don't think that would do anything to dissuade them. But maybe I just have a low opinion of politicians and bureaucrats. Maybe that's what it is. Because they have a low opinion of us. So why can't I return it? Best Years of Our Lives, that's a good one too. That's a sad one. Ron Smith says the book 12 O'Clock High. Let me put my thing on here. The book 12 O'Clock High is a study of leadership under crisis using a World War II bomber group story as the setting. Oh, okay, cool. Tom Canavan says Letters from Iwo Jima was good. Perspective from both sides. Okay. I think I saw that, but I fell asleep. Midway remake is good too. Yeah, there was something, I tried that one. It's something, the trailer didn't grab me, but I said, well, let me see. Maybe they just made a bad trailer. And I couldn't really get into it. I don't remember getting very far. Oh, the mini golf's got some people out. It's a beautiful day for a little round of mini golf. Peter says, I'm worried the remake of Red Badge of Courage will miss the mark. Um, I saw some stuff from it. It looks to me like, well, it was, I shouldn't, it's not fair. I don't know. I'll leave it. I don't know yet. I'll see it when it comes out. I just have a feeling it will, I, here's the thing with war movies. If there's not like a $200 million budget and someone big behind it, like Steven Spielberg, I can't, it's hard to get into them. And it's not, I just can't get into them. Because war movies are too elaborate. They need to be too, like you gotta, there's thousands of people and bullets flying everywhere and explosions and stuff and tight shots on a small group of people. To me, and when it's not, depicting a small band off on their own and it's, a small group of people within a battle of tens of thousands of people, it kind of loses me. And it's just because I'm an asshole. I was just thinking of that film, says Michael. That's for YouTube. Have a good day at work. Thank you. I'm actually going to go in and get a coffee and go back to the studio and start working on the Dale Dye interview. Very excited to show that to you. My goal is to put it up as a live stream on Wednesday, probably 7:30-ish. I got to check and see what the best time is to do that on Wednesday. But look for it, and I hope you watch it. Also, we're back with AG Today this week. It is the third Thursday of the month. We have a guest who is opening a donut shop called Devil's Den Donuts. And she used to work here at Bantam, and she makes fantastic donuts. And she will also, I believe, carry Little Ground Top over there, which of course makes sense to have that near the Devil's Den Donuts. So she'll be on. She's a nice girl, and she'll probably be nice to listen to entertaining to listen to. And it'll be fun to get back and talk with all you guys. I do miss doing it, but we'll be back weekly, probably, I don't know, winter. Okay? All right. You guys and gals, have a great day. Happy Mother's Day.